Madam President,
The senator from Rhode Island.
may I inquire if we are presently in a quorum call?
Yes, we are.
May I ask unanimous consent that the quorum call be lifted?
Without objection.
Thank you very much. Madam President, bad things can bring out the best in people. And I rise today to speak about our response to the earthquake that devastated Haiti last month, and in particular, to the compassionate efforts that Rhode Islanders have made to help those who've suffered through this tragedy. The 7.0 scale magnitude earthquake that struck Haiti on January 12, 2010 is really the first great natural disaster of the new decade. Even before the quake struck, the small island nation of Haiti faced significant challenges as the poorest country in the Western Hemisphere. Haiti's been racked by years of political strife and the constant threat of hurricanes and tropical storms. Now, this most recent catastrophe has led to, for us, almost unimaginable suffering on the part of the people of Haiti. On February 3rd, Haiti's Prime Minister, Jean-Max Bellerive, announced that over 200,000 people had been confirmed dead. The UN has estimated that over 3 million people have been directly affected by the disaster. In the capital of Port-au-Prince alone, over 700,000 people have been displaced, with over 480,000 departing the city altogether. Even before the quake, many Rhode Islanders were helping down in Haiti. One constituent, Natalie Gooding, a CPA from Warwick, was down there volunteering her time at an orphanage for young Haitian girls in Port-au-Prince. She was there when the quake hit. Days went by before her husband Michael and her children were able to communicate with her. As people with families around us, I know that the distinguished presiding officer and I certainly can share the intense concern that that family must have gone through hearing the news coming out of Haiti for hours and for days, and knowing that their wife and their mom was down in the middle of that and not hearing from her. As you can imagine, it was a traumatic experience. Fortunately, as it turned out, Natalie was safe, and she's now back in Rhode Island with her family. But as I acknowledge our relief efforts after the quake, I also want to acknowledge and commend all the volunteers from Rhode Island and elsewhere who were so generously helping down in Haiti even before the earthquake struck. The response from the United States to this tragedy has really been remarkable. In the weeks since the earthquake, the United States has provided over $439 million, nearly $500 million in emergency humanitarian assistance. The Department of State, the U.S. Agency for International Development, the Department of Defense, and other government entities have all contributed to this effort. Water distribution, sanitation and hygiene programs, food assistance, logistical support, provisions for shelter, and essential medical services have all been top priorities. The U.S. military has sent aircraft and ships to Haiti, including the USNS Comfort hospital ship and the aircraft carrier USS Carl Vinson. These vessels are providing medical treatment facilities and humanitarian assistance. In addition, the 22nd Marine Expeditionary Unit and the Army's 82nd Airborne have contributed 5,500 troops to distribute humanitarian aid and provide search, rescue, and security support. We've also seen extraordinary generosity from the American people. From the millions of dollars individuals and businesses have donated to help the victims of the quake, to the volunteers who've selflessly traveled to Haiti to lend their valued expertise. Americans, with our spirit of generosity, have tried to help in any way they possibly can. The outpouring of support in my state of Rhode Island for those affected by this catastrophe has been overwhelming. Many Rhode Islanders have generously donated to organizations to give whatever they can to the relief of this devastated country. At the Blessed Sacrament School in Providence, a school some of whose students have family members and loved ones in Haiti, the 270-plus students of this small school, pre-K to 8th grade, raised over $1,680 for the Red Cross in a single day. Students and parents at the Frenchtown Elementary School in East Greenwich raised close to $1,700 for the Save the Children Relief Organization to help families in Haiti. At the St. Mary Academy, Bayview, in Riverside, fifth graders have produced handmade yarn dolls, which they're selling to raise money for the victims of the earthquake. This month, students at the University of Rhode Island launched a URI Helping Haiti campaign with the goal of raising $100,000 for Plan USA, a Rhode Island-headquartered relief organization that provides direct humanitarian assistance to 1.5 million children in 49 countries across the globe, including, of course, Haiti. 10 members of the Rhode Island National Guard's 143rd Airlift Wing flew to Haiti in January to assist in the relief efforts. The 143rd's latest humanitarian mission before this was in New Orleans, assisting in the aftermath of one of our own country's greatest natural disasters, Hurricane Katrina. This time, they flew to Haiti to provide medical transportation and evacuation assistance. In January, even the Rhode Island Democratic and Republican parties put politics aside and came together to host a joint fundraiser to benefit the humanitarian relief efforts led by the Clinton-Bush Haiti Fund. Rhode Island doctors like Christopher Bourne, Sachita Shah, Stephen Sullivan, and Helena Taylor of Rhode Island Hospital traveled to Haiti in the days after the earthquake to provide critical medical services to those injured. These doctors lacked the medical equipment there that we here take for granted, and they were often forced to use rudimentary medical procedures to treat the numerous patients who had lined up for assistance. But they did it, and they made a difference. These stories represent only a small fraction of the generosity that Rhode Islanders and the American people have exhibited in the weeks following the earthquake. It is truly inspiring how Americans have joined together to help the people of Haiti in this time of need. And I know that the world is watching this example of America's generosity, goodwill, and professionalism. I'm proud of the many contributions that came from my small state. Madam President, the thoughts and prayers of Rhode Islanders, and indeed all Americans, will continue to be with those who have suffered and are still suffering in this catastrophe as the recovery and rebuilding begins to take shape. And I know the generosity and the good work will continue. I thank you, and I yield the floor.